Let's begin with our site model. First things first is let's create planar surfaces for our streets, right? So these are our street curves, and we need to create surfaces from these. So let's drop down the surfaces. Let's select street surfaces layer. And now we're ready to create planar surfaces from these. So let's everybody highlight everything. And let's type the command planar surface. And I'll leave it up there for a second to make sure you get it right. You can see it, it's up here. And then hit enter. Now let's hit right click on top and let's go to shaded mode. Now we can see that all of our planes were created, right? And they should all be on the correct layer. So now that we have that taken care of, let's move on to our next layer system, right? So let's do our parcels. So I'm going to select the parcel curves to turn it on, and I'm going to turn off street surfaces. I'm also going to turn off street curves because we're not using those right now. So now we have our parcel curves layer on. So we need to make planar surfaces out of all these too, right? So what's the best way to do this? Is the exact same method. So let's select the layer that we want our planar surfaces to end up on, which is going to be parcel surfaces. So everybody should have this layer selected, parcel surfaces. And let's do planar surface again. So everybody type planar surface. And another way to find that is to go to surfaces, planar curves. So it's right here. So it's the same exact command. It's found in two different locations. Here's the other location for it. And so it's asking select planar curves to build surfaces. So let's go ahead and do all of it at once. Might as well, right? You can do it all at once. Make sure you're on the parcel surfaces layer. Make sure that's your current layer. And let's hit enter. So now it's created surfaces for every single parcel, right? So now we've accomplished that much. So let's turn off our parcel curves. And let's turn on our river topography. And now that we've finished our surfaces, let's turn those off. So the only thing that should be on now is our river topo curves. So we need to do the exact same thing again. So let's do it one more time. So before we do this, make sure you're on the right layer. The right layer for this is going to be river topo surfaces. And let's highlight it all and do planar surface. Okay. So now we can turn off our topo curves, our river topo curves. And we have what's left here. We forgot the first one on here, which is our landscape topography, right? So let's turn that on and find it. It's all the way off to the right here. And let's turn off our river topo surfaces because we don't need those anymore. We've done what we needed to do. So now the only layer we should have visible is our landscape topo curves right here. So we need to do the same exact thing again, right? So let's just do it. Select the landscape topo surfaces as your current layer because that's where you want all your surfaces to end up on. Let's highlight all this information and type planar surface or go to the command okay. And now that we have that done, all we have left is our building masses, right? So let's turn on our building mass curves and let's open it up so that way we could see all our different building heights. And let's do the same thing for surfaces. So now that we have both those open, let's focus on one at a time. So the first one we're going to do is 15-foot surfaces, right, for building masses. So let's do under surfaces, under building mass surfaces, make 15 feet surfaces your current layer. And let's hide the landscape topo surfaces because we don't need those, and we also don't need the curves for now. So let's hide those. So obviously we have all the buildings on here, right? So we need to hide everything except for the 15-foot. So all you should see is green, right? Just these green buildings right here. So these are all our 15-foot tall buildings. So let's do the exact same process again. Let's go planar surface, and let's select all of these. Make sure you're on the right layer, 15 feet surfaces, down here, and hit enter. Does everybody else get this? Hit yes. That's fine. Now, let me show you guys one more time what it's saying. It says self-intersecting input curves were found. Closed curve Boolean process. So what this is asking is, or pretty much what it's telling us in the first line is self-intersecting input curves were found, which means that there were two lines on top of each other. So you have a line, and then you have another line, and those lines are directly on top of each other. And when it's trying to read this as a planar surface, it's seeing that there's two lines on top of each other. And so that's a conflict, and it can be an issue. And so it's asking, do you want to curve Boolean the process? And so what that means is it's going to take those two lines, and it's going to, just for its own sake, for making the planar surface, make it so one line disappears so they're not overlapping anymore. And so it'll allow you to still get all your planar surfaces everywhere. So now that we have that one done, let's turn off those curves. Let's turn on the 25-foot curves and the 25-foot surfaces. And let's hide all the green. And let's do it again. So now we're doing it for our 25-foot buildings. So make sure you're highlighted and your current layer is 25-foot surfaces. And let's select all those. And we're going to do the same process again, planar surface. Okay, and let's keep moving along here. I'm just gonna do these last ones without any verbal discussion about it. So now we've planar surfaced every single curve, closed curve that we had, right, on every single layer. So now we have a lot of information overlapping itself. It's all in the same plane, and it's all taken care of here. So now we need to go through the process of cleaning this file up, right? We have all the information. It's all flat, right? So now we need to add some third dimension to this, right? And maybe we need to clean some stuff up so there's not so much craziness going on. You see how the display is freaking out in certain areas? It's freaking out because you have two surfaces directly on top of each other, and it's letting you know that right here, not only do you have the blue surface, or layer, but you also have the green surface. So we need to do something about that and clean some of that up, right? Because look how crazy that looks. We got all three colors going right here.